Everybody, and welcome to another edition of A Chapter a Day Keeps the Doctor Away. My name is Alan, otherwise known as Hisui, and I am from ReverseThieves.com as well as the Speakeasy podcast. And today we're looking at the 7 Deadly Sins, 57, the scene of a far-off day. And the first thing we learn is that Grouther has the most powerful magic that anyone can have in a shonen series. He can trap people's minds in flashbacks. And considering how many flashbacks and recaps people have in shonen manga, clearly he just has the most broken power that ever existed. Although, apparently the demon eventually snaps out of it, so I guess he only has the unbreakable power for limited amounts of time. But this chapter starts off with kind of an introspection and a look at kind of the main difference between Lotus and Ban. Lotus once to save this guy, wants to find a way to undo what's happened to him, and Ban is just like, yeah, time to execute this guy. I mean, he's a monster now. There's no reason to save him. Let's just put him out of his misery. Kind of, once again, cementing Ban as this anti-hero. This guy who's with the main party. But, really, he could be a villain given only a small amount of push otherwise. I mean, he's not kind of the Han Solo charming rogue. He's the kind of dangerous guy that just happens to be on the side of good kind of anti-hero. I mean, not that he isn't a charming rogue, but, you think the Han Solo type where he's really a good guy in the end. Whereas Ban is more like, well, at least he's working for the good guys. That's something, right? And so, yeah, Ban, just given the opportunity, plucks this guy's heart out. And the big revelation, the one I did not expect, is that at least one of the people, because I think there are multiple, as I've said in previous chapter days, I think that multiple people have made this monstrosity, is Gilly's dad, who we heard was a disgraced knight, who got a bunch of people killed. I wonder what actually happened was they gave that demon's blood to a bunch of, basically wannabe holy knights. And they, instead of them becoming like a superpowered team, they just became this amalgam demon thing. And the higher-ups just decided, well, we'll blame Gilly's dad, and then we'll say he killed them all, or he was incompetent and got them all killed. And not have to say, yeah, our experiment to turn people into super soldiers kind of fused all these guys into an abomination. But that was a little unexpected, but, we knew something was up with her dad disappearing and turning her into kind of the crazy person she is today. So, but that was interesting. But on the equally shocking front, Cain, I did not realize this, although I'm not sure how I would have. Cain doesn't recognize her as Elizabeth the princess at first. Bum bum bum. He recognizes her as Liz, who was Lotus's old lover. What? So, yeah, it turns out that she was this knight from a foreign country who was captured, and Lotus kind of took care of her and, prevented her from being killed or, worse as a prisoner of war, and they kind of fell in love. And so, but she looks exactly like Elizabeth, only with different color hair. Since this manga began, and they kind of offhandedly mentioned that Elizabeth was the adopted daughter. I mean, I knew that was going to come into play. I just did not expect her to possibly be Melodus's old lover, who, has had some kind of weird effect happen to her. That is not the thing I expected. I expected maybe she was a survivor of that city that Melodus possibly destroyed, but not this. So I'm just kind of curious how this works into the timeline. Is she some kind of I'm not sure, a reincarnation or something? Or is she just, the Liz and they took her in because she had amnesia or something? But, I'm fairly certain that Liz and Elizabeth are pretty much linked, if not the same person. So, but how she got there is yet to be seen. But Cain is still sticking around, and as we later learn, that abomination, even if you pluck out one of its hearts, kind of like plucking out one of its heads, it still has time to go. So there is still time for my prediction that, Lotus is going to have to Hulk out to finally kill this thing. And then Cain is going to be like, oh man, you are the guy who destroyed the city. Bum, bum, bum. But, yeah, but it ends with Cain mentioning, oh yeah, I have this dagger that Liz always wanted to give Lotus, but he never accepted because he's too powerful. We also learned that, Lotus, once again, more kind of in contrast to Ban, he doesn't use the sword because if he uses the sword, the casualties are too high. So, in order to just like knock people out and not just be this slaughter machine, he doesn't usually use the sword. But Elizabeth is running with the sword that Liz tried to give Lotus. And that's so I wonder if that's his sacred treasure or if his sacred treasure is a different kind of dagger. We'll have to see. But I did notice one interesting thing more than anything else is it definitely kind of pushes this more towards the seinen feel, even though it runs in a shonen magazine, is that Melodus actually had a lover, that he had a previous relationship with a woman, and that it was sexual. I mean, I feel like, it being sexual aside, just having a previous relationship tends to move you, and it being kind of a serious relationship, moves you more towards, the seinen, upper level shonen. For something that's essentially kind of, a little more jumpy. That's a little interesting that they have that. I'm kind of impressed. I'm like, good going, Kodansha manga. You know, not every series has to have a main character who has a long and torrid, dating history. The kind of pure boy shonen character is still, a great character and still has its time and place. But I do like seeing a shonen character who has a little more experience under his belt. Kind of is interesting. Also, they are really playing up Grouther's whole, like, I am a robot. Your human emotions are most strange to me. And am I the only one who thinks that Grouther is actually a girl? Or is he just supposed to be like super, super, like, Bishonen-y, effeminate? Once again, it's sometimes a little hard to tell. I should really run it by Kate and see, like, do you think has a penis or not? Question mark. It doesn't, also, it's not like Grouther's like super masculine or super feminine. Not that that really, has anything to do, once again, sex and gender, two different things, but being super robotic, it's even harder to tell because it's not even like you think it's this way, but then it's a twist. I mean, he basically Grouther basically comes up as like beep beep boop boop boop, like you expect him to be like, I reproduce asexually, boop boop boop. So I'm just curious if anybody listens to these things and was reading the manga. Say in the comments, what gender do you think, or sex do you think Grouther is? I'm kind of curious. But, yep. Man, these demons, they don't... I almost kind of want all the demons to go down this hard. I don't know. It makes them feel a little more like the real. Yep, it's still going, which once again, I think is more of it having multiple hearts and heads and all this stuff. I think that once again leads more credence to my idea that this demon is just like a kind of legion of several failed knights. But we'll see if that's true in the next few chapters. Hopefully Elizabeth can get over there and be more use than just dagger delivery service. But we'll see that in the next chapter. See you next week.